downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Peyton. Just gonna solidify everything for Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're gonna be able to find these shots true.
Inu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes the Natalie immediately goes back to fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to yet another evening of Saturday Night Overwatch. When we come out to you, we bring out the best of the best that we can in the great game of Overwatch here at CGL for the multi-tier tournament number 14. We're in week number 8 now, and I can hardly believe it because, if I remember correctly, I believe this is the last week we have before stepping into playoffs themselves. I'm going to be your beautiful host, Sam Tonks. Joining me on the desk is none other than Joker, Bullskunk, and to try hard Ray. And guys, well, I gotta say, I'm excited for tonight's matchup, right? We're stepping into the NAGM tier of the PC tier, I believe. And we have Mythos Phoenix going up against Guardians HC. So, Joker, before we step into the great wide world of talking about these two amazing teams, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
Well, I've been better.
Huh?
I've definitely been better.
Oh,
Yeah, I've had some medical problems recently, but I'm here and I'm alive, so that's all that really matters right now.
I think I can speak for everyone on the desk and everyone in the general vicinity of us that we're very glad that you are okay, Joker. Very, very glad. Jeff, how about yourself, my friend?
Doing wonderful. Kidding, having a great weekend. My second time on the desk here today, so, you know, anytime I get to get on the desk for some Overwatch, some Saturday Night Overwatch, it's a good day, so.
I couldn't agree more. And I mean, you know, you're amongst good friends. We got all of our great casters and the production staff.
Precisely.
It's always nice hanging out with them. It's like the pre-show coming into the show gets everyone all amped up and ready to go. And Ray, how about yourself, my friend?
Can't complain. You know, life is good. You know, got some great people on the desk here, and not much I can do. Not much else I can say there.
Yeah. Guys, we gotta amp things up, okay? Because this is the final weeks before playoffs, all right? We gotta get the energy going. We gotta get the excitement magnified up into another level here. Joker, I mean, it's the final week going into playoffs.
Yeah, which is gonna be sad because I won't be able to be here for the first week of playoffs for SNO because I decided to go to Sweden for the Overwatch World Championship Series.
I'm so jealous.
So this is going to be my last SNO for a little bit here. Yeah, I'm excited. These two teams are really good
over here.
And what? I mean, hey.
Sorry,
I'm
guys,
not
I gotta go to Sweden real quick.
I'm not the only one that's going, bruh. Headrammer's going too.
Yeah, but Headrammer's not here on the desk with us, Joker.
Fair.
So, I don't see Headrammer anywhere, and I have looked down, so it's, you know, it's not here. Jeff, it's a final week though. Final week before the playoffs.
Yeah.
Everything is, and especially with our matchup tonight, we'll get it again. We'll dive into that a little bit more. But you know, all of our teams have gone through so much to get to this point, to get to the stage, and to potentially be staring down the opportunity to get into said playoffs.
Well, I mean, and that's where everything changes, right? The slate is wiped clean, as I said this morning. So going in, I mean, yeah, you got you've got some teams that can be favorites, but that's when the underdogs rise up. I think that's what makes playoffs so special. And it's anybody's game. Any given game day, anybody can take the dub.
Hey, yeah, Ray. And that's what makes things exciting, right? Especially for tonight, is that anyone can take the dub. And for what we have in front of us, oh, it's going to be so good.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later, but very exciting. I mean, not every game is always going to have stakes in this final season. Like even EU earlier, it decided some seeding, but both teams had made it anyway. And I mean, I don't know if we can just go ahead and pull that up right now, but we on EU this morning we had a matchup between I can't remember the names of the teams right now.
Hold on, we got that's Prod coming in to save the day.
Big Man Ting and Completely Melted, that's what it was. But don't let that scoreline dissuade you. It was that was one of the closest 3-0s we've ever had. Control went to 3 points. Hybrid went to extras, and Clash went to the final point. So it was very, very close, despite the score line.
Yeah, so we get an idea of how things went over there in the EU. It's 3 Overwatch, but as Ray said, a little bit closer, well, actually a lot closer than one would have expected. So, things gone maybe a little bit better for Big Man Tang. We could be seeing a different score line, but that's over there on the EU side. We're here for NA. That's where the real magic is about to happen with Guardians HC versus Mythos Phoenix. And for the past couple Saturday night Overwatches, at least for the weeks that I've been here from EU and NA, one of those two has given us a lot of enjoyment and some really close matchups here. And so I'm hoping that NA to deliver that. And, well, I don't necessarily why it wouldn't. I mean, these two teams are... They're at that level, right, Joker?
Yeah, I mean they're two very good teams. Like we said, they are fighting for a playoff position right now. I'm really excited to see Guardians. A lot of old names from CGL's past, and then I would tell you about Mythos. I don't think they filled out. Yeah, they didn't fill out their team sheet, so I can't really tell you about them. So I mean, what can we do? Really,
shame.
But it should be fun though. I mean, right? I'm really excited to see Guardians play again.
Joker, you did bring up a very important point though, and I'm gonna go talk to Jeff about this. This is a playoffs determinant match, Jeff. So if you ever thought that the previous matchups were tense, if you were wondering who's gonna be making it through to the other side, well, this game that we have coming up in front of us is so important for both of these teams.
And it makes it a lot of fun to watch, right? I mean, both these teams are coming in 4-3 right at the cutoff, and there's no head-to-head to worry about. There's no having to get in the weeds in this one. This is clear cut. Winner will move on and move into the playoff slot. We'll get into that 4th slot. I mean, hotly contested there. In top 4 make it in. Winner tonight will take it.
And you know what, Ray? It's nice to not have to worry about map differential or rounds or anything like this. It's like Bull Skunk said. This is as pure and as unfiltered Overwatch as we're going to get.
Exactly. The math has already been done for you guys. We don't need those, nerdy guys like I'm sitting here with these glasses, crunching the numbers. Like, actually, if this one map goes one certain way, and no, it's just winners in, losers out. It's simple enough. So both teams know what they're playing for, and that's great. And it's just gonna be awesome to see an Overwatch game with stakes this high.
Yeah, I always feel like too when you don't have to worry about, oh well, if we miss a map here, if we miss a map there, it's over for us. Instead, we just got to keep our eye on the prize, got to keep our minds in the game to be able to win out this matchup and secure our spot for the playoffs. But, even the best of these teams, especially the ones that we have in the NAGM tier, well, sometimes they don't have the best of moments, so to speak, and sometimes they're caught live on camera here on our amazing desk or throughout the multiple productions that we have here at the amazing CGL Twitch channel. And sometimes those even get caught and put into a little video called Lowlights, narrated by none other than the phenomenal Leg Day. And we have a small little ad that we're going to play for all of you to get an idea of what it's like to be roasted by Leg Day.
how does the old cowboy deal with this one? Well, less well. Oh, there's for sleep. Here comes the beam, though. The beam will be helpful. Did you just drop off this freaking... Were you forced to use this self-destruct, or did you just think, you know what? He's sleeping. He's an EP guy. I'll just drop this here. Does he get clear? Tries their best. Where are you going? What were you just trying to deflect off of this central pillar to avoid the Deadeye? Alright, boys. Oh, we just curve around because of all of the angled surfaces. I've made a boo-boo here.
Console Gaming League YT. If you want to go watch that full video, make sure to go and check it out. Leg Day, as always, does an amazing job. Jeff, I love good old Leg Day, and I love watching some hilarious lowlights moments, right?
Oh, of course. I love those videos. They're so fun. It's fun. I don't miss one. I don't miss a single one. I keep that one on notification, make sure I watch it every time. But I mean, that's, you know, Leg Day's been a supporter and a triumphant force in grassroots Overwatch for as long as I can remember. So it couldn't, not a better person suited for the job. I mean, absolutely hysterical, everyone.
Every single one of them.
You
The
know,
man's
Sam,
talented. What?
I got
Yes,
a bone
Rick?
to pick with you. We're doing staff match next week, and you ducked and dodged it last season, and Leg Day will be doing lowlights for that video next week. So no dodging, man. We're all gonna get caught.
No. Oh boy. Yeah.
I think I'm busy.
Yeah. Joker just decided to go to Sweden a week early and is gonna stay there for the next 2 weeks. Okay, all right. You know what? Lowlights are amazing, but so are the games that we always have on this fun desk of ours. And Jeff, you are the host of this week's game, so I'm going to leave the floor to you, my friend, to tell us exactly what you're about to put us through.
Oh, is it that time already? All right. Well, I mean, I'm back with another round of Name That Sound. Anybody that's seen me do this before, we've done this a few times here. Typically, I mean, you know, we're going to play some sort of sound-based cue for you. You know, something Overwatch-based. And then, you know, our lovely guinea pig, contestants will have to take a guess and see who can get the most points here. Now, this one, I found out last time that I was making these a little too easy on you guys. So what I've done here is we're going to be using the buzzer this time around. And so it's gonna be, you gotta be quick. You gotta be quick. So I expect you all to know the answer. It's who's gonna get it first.
Okay.
We'll see. If anything, we know Sam is always quick to the gun. Does he always get it right? Not always, but he's always quick on the buzzer.
Well, let me let's get some details here. So pull up the buzzer. Yeah, there should be a link in our chat and stuff to get that prepared here. While I'm telling you what's going on, we're gonna have our map intro music. So our theme today, this is all intro music. Yes, you did guess it right earlier, right? That you know what, maybe you pay attention to it, maybe you don't. Let's see how well you do. I expect some of these are going to be easier than others. You know, like I said, I think you'll eventually get them all. We'll see how this goes. We'll see how difficult this is. But yeah, let's get the buzzers ready. And once Crowd, are we ready on the back end, ready to go here? And yeah, let's go ahead and get this thing. Let's give it a try. I mean, the first one should just be a layup for you to kind of get in the rhythm here. So let's get our first out. What map is that? All right, Ray buzzed it first. What map is that?
Is that Midtown?
It is Midtown. Point to Ray.
Dang.
Boom. All right. Now you see how this is gonna go. Okay.
This is bopping though.
I know, these are all so good. They really, I was like listening to these all day long, Sam. They're all so good. All right, let's keep it rolling.
Reset the buzzer, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, good call. Thank you, sir. Reset all buzzards. All right. Get your fingers on your mouses. Let's get sound number 2. Sam, you buzzed in on that one. What you got?
Is it Eichenwald?
Negative, sir. Negative.
Dang it.
Who's next?
Oh, I should have let it listen a little longer.
Oh, look at Joker buzzed in. What you got, Joker?
Coliseo?
Negative. No, sir. No, sir.
Okay.
Any plays? Any guesses for you, Ray?
I think I know.
I'll go Throne of Anubis.
No. Actually, all are mistaken. That was Rialto.
Oh,
Rialto.
Oh.
Yeah, you can
I thought
start
it was
hearing
Circuit.
it now. You
I
can.
thought it was Circuit right now.
How
Alright.
you realize how long these map intros are either? Like when you hear past just a little bit that plays in the game.
Some of them do actually have a little lead-in time before like we're used to hearing them, because these are all off the official website, right? So it's the full like 2.5-minute song that they wrote for each of these, and there are a couple of that's like 10-15 second lead-in time that I was like, wait a minute, and you kind of hear the hint of it, but when we actually are used to hearing it, it kicks in a little bit later. Anyway, so yeah, there's a little bit of that. Okay, buzzers to be reset. Let's get ready for sound number 3. Joker.
Very
What map is
so.
this? Yes, sir. Joker gets the point.
I know it because I hate this map.
I know some of these are just gonna be like that. Some of these are just gonna be like that. All right, let's keep it rolling. Fingers on your buzzers. Sound number 4. Joker busted.
Shambhala Monastery.
No, sir.
Really?
Sam.
Nepal?
Yes, Sam gets the point.
Yes.
You were close, Joker. You were so close. They're very similar.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh,
there
there's
is.
the sound. Yeah.
Yeah,
Production. Where's my
good.
point? Where's my point? Production.
Everybody's
Yeah, we're
tied.
missing points here.
Everybody's tied at 1 right now. Don't worry, guys. I'm keeping track. No, he didn't. No proof. we're just gaslighting Joker at this point.
Hey, Joker, how come you don't have a point, buddy?
What's
You should
going
get
on?
better.
What's going on? All right. Fingers on your buzzer. Sound number 5.
This is so good. We're jamming
Joker.
right now.
Since our producer said he never heard it, I'm gonna go with the newest map, Rinzapi.
Negative. Good guess, though.
This one's tough
This one is tough.
because it hasn't quite reached that level where you're. I'm gonna go for it.
What you got, Sam?
It's a Coliseo.
No.
Dang.
You're both right on. So close, Ray. What you got?
I'm gonna go with New Queen Street.
Bingo. Ray gets
Yeah,
the
baby.
point. Ray gets the point.
Yep, that was gonna be my next guess.
That was no Queen
That
Street.
was good.
It's one of those that had a little bit of an intro into it. Like that
No,
first
I
part
can't.
we don't play in
Once I
game.
started hearing like, it makes
Yeah.
me think of the hockey stadium.
Yep,
I'm like,
exactly.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
It doesn't have as distinct a sound like some do, though. It doesn't have like a high pitch anything or anything that really stands out. It's just kind of grooving in the background, you know?
Yeah.
All right, let's see. They get these buzzers reset. Ray with a 2-point lead. Sound number 6? 7. Sound number 7.
You gotta reset the buzzer.
Did I not reset the buzzer? I thought I
No.
reset. Oh, I'm sorry.
I
Oh,
know
it's scuffed.
it's like
Joker.
Numbani.
Negative.
Oh. No, it's not.
I can literally hear myself playing this map. I hate this.
I'm hearing it. What is it? It's.
Oh, I'm so upset with myself.
Sam.
Is it Ilios?
It is. Sam gets the
Yeah.
point. That is Helios.
I'm so upset with myself.
I'm sorry, Joker. I'm sorry.
Oh, it took me a second.
All right. Let's keep it rolling.
This is another one.
Sam.
Is it Numbani?
Negative.
Dang it.
Is it Coliseo?
Negative, sir. Oh, did you buzz? I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I.
Did it kick in now?
I feel like it has to make.
I feel
Okay,
like
I don't
this
know
is
why I'm feeling this. I'm pretty sure it's wrong, but I'm gonna go with it. Kings Row.
Negative. You'd recognize King's Row. It is close because it's in the same vein. It was the only map that was designed before King's Row. That was Temple of Anubis.
Oh, see, I didn't realize we were going.
There's
See,
not
I
too
was
many curveballs in there, but there's, I gotta get a little cheeky on you from time to time.
I wanted to say it was Throne of Anubis because I didn't know if it was gonna be that updated.
dang.
No, it's the same guy that did King's Row. Like there are some similar kind of vibes in there. But nope, that was Temple of Anubis. All right. We could keep this going. If I start going over, by all means, like we don't have to do the whole list. Like we can do one or two more, however we're feeling here on time.
Just gotta break the tie with me.
Yeah, I think we should do one more.
All right, let's break this tie.
I'm gonna tie it all.
It's a good tiebreaker.
Gotta reset the time buzzer. This one's.
Now this can be any map, right?
This is an Overwatch 2. I'm not trying to get cheeky on this one.
I'm just gonna go with it.
Do it. What you guess?
Shambhala Monastery.
That's the point. Sam,
Yeah.
you get the dub.
Nice.
See,
Oh my god!
I was overthinking it. I was thinking Eco Point Antarctica.
Oh, that was actually
would've been
in
a
the
good
list. That one was a little bit later in the list. That one's really tricky. Like
The only
Antarctica,
one that
it's
was popping in my head was Antarctic Peninsula. I don't even know why.
Yeah, it was either those.
yeah, it's
those-
another kind of tricky one like that where it's more ambient than actually like a song.
Yeah.
Nah, way to go, Sam.
Nice
Good
job,
guess on
Sam.
Sam. All right, round
I
of
know.
applause.
I know how to name that sound, everyone. That's the second game I've won. Hey, yeah, look at me, it's me, woohoo! Yippee!
And the
I
crowd
play
goes
Overwatch.
Thank y'all for playing. I appreciate it. That's my silly little game. I appreciate it. I hope y'all had fun out there too. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That was a really good game, Jeff. I'm glad that we got the opportunity to be able to do it again. So, mad props to you for taking the time out of your day and setting up that game. And I also like listening to the soundtracks again is just like really good because Blizzard's sound department is, well, especially the music is so good.
It's one of the joys of doing this little game is getting to go record and kind of really pay attention to all the details. It really is so well done.
Imagine if we actually got the Overwatch anime we were supposed to get.
Still holding on.
I know.
One day.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a lot of hopes, a lot of dreams out there, and a lot of pre-recorded interviews with our teams that we have coming up in this matchup. So to start things off, we have a pre-recorded Mythos interview right here for you all.
Alrighty, and here we have another interview going, this time with the side of Mythos Phoenix. I've got Candy, the captain and support player. How are you doing this evening, Candy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you for asking, but I'll stick to the questions around here. So, just starting it off, how's the season been going for Mythos Phoenix?
It's been going pretty well. I feel like there was some kind of at the beginning of our season, we had a little bit of a hard time with new people on, getting on the team and things, and some people not being able to play after all. So there was a lot of shifting around. But overall, we're pretty happy with how the season ended up so far.
Awesome. Well, you have this game tonight here. Do you expect anything specific that you're having to come into this with? Maybe any specific prep, or do you guys just sort of take the game at face value? You're ready to go.
We've scrimmed Guardians a couple times so far, so we do already kind of know their style of play, and we definitely prepared with a couple scrims before the game tonight. So we're hoping that that kind of helps us out, but nothing specific necessarily for them.
Of course, of course. And then, I mean, we have to talk about the implications as well, right? I mean, luckily the math is not crazy and convoluted. It's simple. Whoever wins, you're guaranteed to go into that postseason. Whoever loses finds themselves just short here. Do you feel like the team's going to be able to handle that type of pressure, or do you maybe feel like people are a little bit nervous?
I think we're ready. Our team definitely is comfortable with one another now as the season has gone on. Obviously, we've kind of learned to play together really well, and we do really well under pressure. So I'm sure we'll do great.
Cool and collected, the atmosphere you love to have. I guess just one final thing. I gave the opportunity to our other interviewees, so I'll give it to you. If there's any maybe declarations, maybe fighting words you want to have for the other team, I mean, now would be your chance to say something.
Just good luck.
Just good luck, keeping it simple, keeping it classy. I love it. Well, we'll go ahead and let you get set up for that match, get all the prep in you need. Thank you, of course, for taking the time to chat with me. It's lovely as always.
Thank you.
And we'll be sending it back to the desk to let them dissect everything that happened.
That seemed to be a relatively chill interview, Joker, right? They got their heads on straight, and they're out here to win. They've talked about the history of how the team has been doing throughout the season, and from what we've been able to gather, forged through the fires and flames, and now ready to be icy cool against their opponents.
Yeah, and they were also really nice too. They didn't. They weren't flaming them. They weren't saying, "Oh, this is going to be easy 3-0." They respect their opponent, and that's good to see, right? They're not going in overconfident, which can sometimes be a downfall for some people.
No, I couldn't agree more, right, Jeff? You have that hubris and that humility in the face of your opponent, because at the end of the day, right, if you're able to win, that's the greatest sort of bragging rights.
I mean, you got with the sportsmanship and the respect. Like, that's, for one, I think first and foremost is just awesome to see. I mean, absolutely love to see it. I mean, where's the respect for your opponent? Couldn't put it better myself there. But you kind of also get a little bit of a hint of, speak softly and carry a big stick kind of philosophy as well. Well, they'll let the gameplay do the talking, and didn't need to talk a big game in the interview, because that's not what matters. It's what happens on the battlefield. And you kind of get that feeling like it's the soft-spoken ones that are usually the scariest.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot too, Ray. Like the ones who are the quiet ones, the ones that you had to be most concerned about.
No, man, listen. I like the energy EU was giving us this morning, man. It was awesome. They're just like, nah, man, these are all our best friends, but he's going to play Kiri, and he's not good at Kiri. Like, I love the energy they had this morning, and sometimes I like that. Like, it's all fun at the end of the day, all in good fun, but throwing something out there every now and then always adds a little spice to it.
Ray just trying to stir up trouble over here.
Ray's trying to stir up trouble. I also want to say, good on Mythos Phoenix to not talk about scrimbucks, right? Because scrims don't actually transition to actual games, right?
That's not what I've been told.
Sorry to break the news to you, Sam. Sorry to break the
Overwatch League. Scrimbucks Exchange was everything.
Yeah, scrimbucks means everything right now. They didn't even talk about how the scrims went, but they didn't have that help or have them say, "Oh, we're a little worried," or we're going in high and mighty, right? They didn't let the scrims get to them. They know that it's a completely different playing field when they go into the actual game here, and also because they can't choose what maps. I mean, maybe they scrimmed the correct maps for this week 8 map, because it is a match, because it is a map pool still. We're not into the playoffs where it's loser picks quite just yet. So, yeah, I mean, it's good on them to keep a level head.
It is good on them to keep a level head, and it's also good on us, because now we get to watch the Guardians HC interview.
Alrighty, gamers, we are here with an interview from the side of Guardians HC. I've got Hairball, one of the DPS players. How you doing today?
I'm pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing excellent. Always fun to cover amazing CGL action, and this match should be no exception here. I mean, heading into this one, you know, do you just want to quickly tell us about how it's been going so far the entire season for Guardians?
Well, the season's been an interesting one. A lot of role changes, a lot of like big voids you need to fill. I've been playing mainly tank this season, just due to us not having a real. Okay, so this is gonna be a little bit odd to say. We didn't have a main support player for a while, and we didn't have a flex support player. So our main tank went to support, I went to tank, and we just kind of made it work for a little bit. So the first 3 weeks of our season were very, very bumpy. But we're making it work now and just trying to catch back up to everything like we always do.
Yeah, absolutely, and we see that here as now you guys stand in a very important matchup here against Mythos Phoenix here, and it's, you know, simple, clear cut, right? Winner is going to qualify for that postseason. Loser will fall just short here. I mean, do you guys feel like there's a lot of pressure? Do you feel like you're coming into this prepared and ready?
I think we're ready as we can be. Previous Guardians teams, I have no problem with this game at all. The pressure is on us. It's up to us to play. If we don't play, we go home. You know, it's just that pretty simple for us.
Yeah, pretty simple, pretty easy and straightforward here. You know, I guess, you know, just to sort of poke fun and see, because this match is going to be intense on both sides of the things, you know, if you had an opportunity to maybe say something to Mythos Phoenix, maybe get in their head a little bit, what would you want to say?
Good luck, buddy. Good luck. One of my former players was on that team from way back when, maybe 4 years ago. That's going to be on him to win that game. So pressure's on his shoulders, not mine.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. That connection could be super, super fun. Well, go ahead and let you make sure you get prepared for that game, of course. And, you know, thank you for taking the time to chat with me, obviously.
I appreciate it.
And we'll throw it down to the desk to break down all of that information.
Both teams, very nice to each other. Both saying good luck. A little spicier from Guardians HC. Got a specific player they want to call out. But Joker, I think the big thing to take away from this team is that it's rocky start, right? A lot of role swaps, but they've ironed it out. And now here they are, ready to win the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm hearing some things from the team friends with them in different servers and whatever. They're worried about map 1 because they're not having their regular players playing for map 1, so they're worried about that. But I told them lock in map 2. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see this. I have a lot of friends actually in this game. And I'm interested to see how both of these teams do, and I'm always excited to see Hairball play. If you're from CGL old, CGL multi-tier 7, Apollo versus Guardians, they made an Infinity Wars. Yeah, you remember that, Jeff? The Infinity Wars poster? With Hairball as Thanos?
Oh, yeah. You cannot cast that game.
I mean, Jeff, Hairball is 6'5" and drinks pure whiskey, is what Twitch chat is saying, apparently, out there in the Mythos.
I mean, I got that aura. Did you not get that aura from the interview? I mean, that's the kind of vibes I was getting. I mean, and despite swaps, they're on a 3-game winning streak coming into this, and I mean, they're no strangers to being in pressure situations where they're having to just kind of roll with the punches and make the best of it, and they've been doing that for years. So it's a good interview, and we did get a little bit more spice, like you said. I mean, Hairball's always fun to watch. Always fun to watch.
Yeah, Ray. These interviews have gotten me so excited for what we have upcoming in front of us. Both of these teams hungry for that W. Both of these teams hungry to get into the playoffs, and both of these teams slightly respectful of each other. You know, getting a little spice, but nothing crazy.
I'm excited because I believe Slaying is also on Guardians.
Yeah.
Staff members, that's always, you know, a little cool to see, you know, our fellow staff people playing in these games and seeing how they do. But I just can't wait. I mean, again, I'm just so excited that the stakes are just so clear and so obvious. Nothing we got to worry about. It's just win or lose. You're in, you're out. I can't wait.
Well, we've talked about the teams, we've interviewed the teams, and now it's actually time to see who is on the teams, starting with Mythos Phoenix. Of course, Alex and Tragic Rays, Radical Metal, and Punk. This is a power lineup that we have going on here, Bull Skunk.
I mean, this is my first time seeing this team in action. I can't wait to see this team in action. I really enjoyed that interview, and I mean, especially if this lineup is anything to go off of, we might be seeing some interesting comps, and now would be the time to bring it out. I mean, the Ana Diva could certainly find a place here, and I hope this is indicative. I mean, a lot of times, people just kind of pick, oh, I like playing this hero, but I hope we do actually get to see something unique from this squad tonight.
Hopefully we will. And let's take a look at the Guardians HC lineup and see what they're going to be working with. Who's going to be playing with them? Hairball, Boingson, Expert, Slaying Beast, and Kairos. Now, Joker, you said you got friends here, so I'm going to come to you as the official source for what we got going on with this team.
Yeah, I mean, I used to play on a team, or was on an academy team with Expert back in multi-tier 7. He was on the tier 3 team. I was on the tier 2 team. Then there was Hairball, who's been around forever as well. And then Boingson and Slaying Beast, both members of the staff team for CGL. And then Kairos is one I don't really know too much about, right? But it should be a good match. Expert really good at Diva. Should be interesting. Diva's still in a somewhat good place, not as good as it once was, but we could still definitely see that Diva come out from Expert.
Well, both teams lined up for us, Ray. This is it. This is everything. We know the teams. We know the players. We've heard from them. Now it's just all on the line, buddy. I gotta get a sense from you what we're feeling right now.
I mean, we got Preds that are about to come out, so we'll see how we're really feeling.
Yes.
But I'm feeling a pretty good game. I mean, I'm not gonna, say who I'm gonna pick yet, because we'll get to that in a second. But
spoil
I don't expect it to be one-sided. Both these teams have the exact same record. They have very similar map differences as well, so I think it's going to be very close. And we talked about it. Not saying scrim pucks matter, but they know each other from scrimming, so they at least have an idea of what each other like to do and how they like to approach different things. So it should be interesting.
Well, we'll see if the Scrim Bucks economy has been inflated or if it's all going to come crashing down. But first, we got our desk predictions, and I'm going to kick things off on the predictions with my pick going to Guardians HC with a 3-2 victory. I know we're going to go all of the way, but my hat's in the ring. This team has been through a lot. They've ironed out their roles, and I'm hoping that they're feeling confident for tonight. Now, Joker, we're going to go over to you now, my friend, and talk about your predictions and what you think is going to happen.
Yeah, I'm thinking a 3-1 for Guardians here.
Okay.
And I'm fine with that, even though I know they're worried about map 1 still. But we'll see how it goes. There are some names on Mythos that I was not aware of before I made this prediction, so hey, we'll see what happens. Some good buddies of mine are on Mythos too. And I hate to fret against them because they're pretty good at Overwatch. But I did.
Hey, pretty good at Overwatch, right? But pretty good doesn't always necessarily mean time to win. Jeff, predictions over here for you now, our third one.
I mean, this may just be ghosts of Forgotten Past of Hairball being Thanos, but I had to lean towards Guardians. Now, admittedly, as I already mentioned, this will be my first time seeing the other squad in action. So I don't know, Mythos, maybe they show up and upset it here, especially we get some news coming about that map 1 maybe looking shaky. I'm not feeling super confident in this pick, Sam, I gotta say.
3-1. Okay, all right. Well, you know what? So far, we've got 3 on the desk for Guardians HC. Ray, we saved the best for last, buddy. Are you gonna go against the grain, or are you with us?
Screw you guys. Mythos all the way, baby. 3-2.
I respect it.
Okay. Hey, look at that. We got like a 3-2 sandwich with a 3-1 center going on. So, Ray, what? 3-2. Why? Why Phoenix? Why Mythos Phoenix?
I'm not saying Scrimbucks means anything. It's just familiarity with playing teams. I'm not saying like, oh, I won the scrim, I'm gonna win this, but like it just gives you more of an idea how things are going to go. As Joker mentioned, a lot of those players he's very well aware of. I'm aware of them too, and I think they're very talented players. I think they definitely have a chance to win, and obviously both teams are desperate to get a win for the playoffs. I'm backing them, baby. I feel it coming. Megalast has gotten a lot of out there picks correct. This week it's my turn.
I just want to piggyback. I mean, I'll say Mythos beat Workers Union in a 3-0, and Guardians lost to Workers Union in a 3-0. So, Ray, you do have a little bit of transitive working in your favor as well.
All right. Hey, we got casters too, and they got some very lovely predictions for us. Let's go ahead and see what Megalast and Hunter Tane are thinking. Okay, we got it up here. The predictions are right there. I'm gonna wait for it. Hunter, I'm assuming is gonna be up first. Yeah, 3-2.
Bam! Hunter
on the Ray train.
Let's
All right,
go.
We got 2 now for Mythos Phoenix, but what is Megalast? It's gonna be either the tiebreaker or the wait, no, it'd be the tie joiner. I don't know. The tie-upper.
Totally tieable.
Totally tieable. Megalast. What is that prediction? Nothing. We don't have a game of Overwatch.
It's 0-0. The most hot take we've ever had on the desk.
I think that is the most insane prediction. Yeah, Jeff. Oh, it's a 3-0 for Mythos Phoenix. Okay, it's a 3-0 for Mythos Phoenix. So not even, it's a perfect run from them tonight. Okay.
That actually makes me a little bit nervous. I like that me and Meg are on the same page because she's gotten a lot of good picks right, but I don't see a 3-0. That worries me a little bit.
Well, why don't we bring our casters up real fast and get the justifications behind this Mythos Phoenix. One of them, at the very least, is going to win the game. The other one saying, hey, Mythos Phoenix, not losing a single map tonight. Pull them up here real quick. Casters, I know we got a lot of bones to pick with them. Hunter, we'll start with you. I want to save the spicy take for last. 3-2 Mythos Phoenix. Why?
Okay, listen. This should 100% be a back and forth affair. There's obviously no reason to not think that. But let's note one thing. Enera, who's the #1 seed in this group, their only loss is to Mythos Phoenix. It is the only loss they have ever taken in the regular season. So if there is a team that's going to show up today and going to have that extra edge, I think it's going to be them because they've shown they can beat the best teams around. And there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to come out here and at least put up a really good fight and show that they deserve to be in those playoffs.
You have to keep in mind, Sam Hunter's also the optimist. He always goes for a 5-mapper. He's
no way. Yeah, that's always.
Hey, I'm right there with you, Hunter. I love map 5s, right? I love having the games where you don't know what's going to happen, right? You can never have enough Overwatch. But Megalast, apparently you can, because 3-0. Mythos Phoenix is going just completely stomping Guardian HC.
The streets were whispering to me. The actual streets. I took a walk outside a couple of minutes ago. The actual pavement was talking to me, right? And what it told me is map 1 is going to go the way of Mythos. And immediately after that, Guardians, their knees are going to start clacking together. The pressure's going to start mounting. And they're just going to be looking like a Scooby-Doo villain, just running for their lives. They don't know what to do because they're just going to build and build and build. And it's just going to be a clean 3-0. That's all it is.
Megalast, that's probably the most sane caster take I've heard in a long time.
You're making me worried about being on the same side as you right now, Micah. That's all I'm going to say.
All right,
everyone. You really sound like you're like on an LSD trip. Like you went outside and like the streets were talking to me.
The streets, they were saying the words. They were coming to me from the streets themselves. Well, I know that we have a lot of words upcoming, so we've kept you all waiting long enough for this exciting playoffs matchup. Remember, everyone, the winner of this match is going into the playoffs. And so, casters, I'm leaving it in your hands. Hunter Tane and Megalast, Mythos Phoenix versus Guardians HC. Take it away.
Well, honestly, there's a lot of energy that has to go into today, Megalast. This means absolutely everything to both these teams here today. They want to come out, they want to perform, because whoever loses here today, this is their last match of the season. This is it. There is no other game of the regular season. There is no other way to get in the playoffs. There's no wild card. This is it. You have to leave everything on the table for these next 5 maps.
Exactly. Pressure is going to be high on both sides here, and so we'll have to see who can crack under it and who can flourish. Like you said, both these teams, I feel like we've set the stakes enough. It really is going to finally be that moment where the proof is going to be in the pudding across this series here. You know, looking at the maps, right? We talked about this a little bit earlier. Pretty much all the matches we've seen here in Week 8. This is a very brawl-favored pool, so we're going to see a lot more of the Orisa, the Juno, the Brig more than likely here. Teams, when they vary off of it, you know, it meets mixed levels of success, right? I feel like, you know, maybe you have your pocket picks here on Blizzard World and things like that, but ultimately, this Brawl comp is going to be the deciding factor for these squads.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely going to be the case. And oddly enough, we have seen the Orisa really start to kind of just stay within that meta area. It's not the most pick anymore. That's the most important thing to note is you can kind of swap around. I mean, we saw attempts at Azaria earlier today that fortunately didn't really find much success. But things like that Ramacho, like that Junker Queen, I think they're very powerful Brawl tanks that can be brought out if the tanks just aren't comfortable running the Orisa, or if they feel like they can run a slightly different style with that and get a little bit more utilization. It's something we're going to have to see here, but most important thing is getting off to a beginning, and with Lijiang, it's going to be a very brawl-centric map. Gardens might be the only real exception to that, but I think we're going to see pretty much a preview of what we're going to see throughout most of this series here today, because Lijiang is one of those perfect little, we'll call them preview maps. I think that's the way I want to word it.
Exactly. This almost feels like a scrim map in and of itself, right? Every single team is comfortable on Lijiang Tower. You know, nobody's going to be here and be like, oh gosh, I don't want to play on Lijiang again. No, I mean, it's a varied amount. It's just, you know, those varied levels of comfort here. Each sub-map, of course, having its own little niche pocket strategies, right? A lot of Symmetra play can sort of work out, crash and burn, you know, 50-50 on that coin here. But we'll have to see if these teams lean into it. Who knows? I mean, both tanks highlighting Dive as their favorite tanks. We could just see sort of maybe a shaking of the hands here as both teams maybe lean more towards those Dive options, which could completely flip what we think about the game.
100%. There is still a good likelihood of something like the Winston, like the Diva coming out here as well. The Ball, who's actually in a pretty fine state, all things considered. I mean, I remember seeing this previously, that Ball coming out and just causing absolute havoc for an entire series. It's happened before. It could happen again, but we are going to be starting out over here on Night Market, I believe, to get things going, which is where things should take around. You can run the Dive or you can run the Ball. You can run a Poke. There's a big variety of what you can run here, and this is where to see these teams kind of experiment the most. And looking at our right at Guardians HC, this is the kind of brawl that you would see like a year and a half ago. That was like ruling everything. But on the left side right now, a little bit different story right now. The Diva currently showing. I can't imagine that stays the exact way it is, but I like the way both these teams are thinking.
Yeah, like you said, Guardians sort of going into the history book. You feel that he's running Juno entirely here to provide a more stable speed boost. You have that constant speed going, even without the amp from Lucio here. Meanwhile, the Baptiste being an insane amount of healing for the Rhine. It's a good way to set up on point here, but if they get removed from the point by any point by Mythos Phoenix, it'll get difficult.
Yeah, Eva's going to be taken care of almost instantly right now, and that's the end of the fight. There's no prolongings. You need to try to get out of here alive, and I think immediately Raze is going to swap off of this. I think you immediately swap off, and you go over to the Ramadra. That is my guess right off the gate. Close enough.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it's going to be about the sustain right now for Raze. You're going to have to find these opportunities. When a sim builds up charge like that, that's when, this Guardians comp gets devastating. That's always going to be their go button, what they're looking out for here. So, potentially going to be on the back of these DPS while there's a lot of survivability on Raze now to be looking for the opening for the side of Mythos Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned with this soldier as well. I don't think it's going to quite find the value you're hoping for, but if you get people in places like that, you could find an approximate value, but pin's going to come through. Wall has been used. Alex is going to try to get away. There's a pin. Gets speared out of the pin, though. Going to keep their team alive, but they're still placed in so many different ways, all subjugated into one corner together, trying to deliver our pressure right now as you're trying to be able to keep up Hairball, let that sim go to work, do as much as they can. And as this fight goes along, this is still going to be a better for Hairball in the rest of the squad, but Alexen finding their value, and the Ryan's going to get slept. Being put in a really weird area right now, so the fight has gotten very chaotic, but again, Mythos Phoenix is fine with that fact. They're going to bring it over to the point. We should get rid of the Ryan, and now it's just a stall onto the point. Get a few more licks of percentage, but it is eventually coming to an end. 48%. Eventually, it'll go the way, but Guardians coming up to a lot of ultimates, but Mythos Phoenix in the same boat.
Yeah, I mean, the only time for the side of Guardians, the Symmetra comp should ever lead point is when that beam is level 3, ready to tear through some opposition here. Tragic almost getting a nice little pick to start this fight off, but again, just sort of overextending there absolutely left them at a standstill. Now Guardians has to try to push in through this.
Yep, big pulse bomb. Sling B's gonna get taken out, so not gonna allow to on B, but Expert coming right back into that ace shatter directly onto Raze. Was gonna get rid of one. He was just barely able to sustain right now. Needs to try to survive, get rid of them. Unfortunately, everyone's kind of looking different ways. Gonna use that wall just in case. Gonna take an end to that fight. Radical Metal go over to that Juno now as Guardians HC take over the point. Gonna have 50+% now taken over.
And it was a trade of ultimates on both sides of the coin here. Now you're looking towards this next fight. This Blizzard from Boeing could be massive here, especially lurking in the corner just like this. Is exactly what you want from your Mei. Meanwhile, you know, if Mythos Phoenix can find a way to live this one.
Yeah, Alexson gets targeted on that. Punk ends up dying to it as well. But you traded out for Hairball Knight to wonder whether or not that trade is worth it. And to be honest, I don't know if it is, but Alexson has been taken out right now. The pin is just creating more and more space right now. Everyone from the side of Mythos Phoenix kind of has to focus on trying to stay alive and resetting, because you only realistically get one more fight in this situation, and the longer these resets take, the tougher that point touch is going to end up being for them.
Exactly, and I mean, like you said, they're running out of time to make sure this reset comes through, but it seems like Mythos Phoenix, they're not done. They want to fight this.
Okay, all right. I'll leave my words on that one right now. They just decided just to keep that fight going, brawl through, and eventually come through with it. But that is still going to get up to 97% right there, so it is one fight territory. But Mythos Phoenix does have the old advantage on their side right now. It's Hairball over on the Reaper now.
Yeah, this Reaper is going to be a very interesting pick instead of the Symmetra, trying to help burst down this Orisa potentially, but this Pulse Bomb lurking in the side.
Yeah, it's going to jump up. Unfortunately, Kairo's going to be taken out of that fight, and now you back off. You just have to get out of there. You take the reset. You are just playing for what is essentially going to be the final fight territory with 60+ on the board.
I mean, yeah, Guardians, you still have a little bit of extra time to work with, right? Build towards this Shatter, and as well as you have the Sound Barrier, right? It's going to be able to mitigate the Tactical Visor or anything else you want it to from the side of Mythos Phoenix and make your engage that much crispier.
That was entirely brave, and as it shows, entirely worth it, getting caught on the pin. And the most important thing about that is obviously now you have to sustain and you have to try to pull off a miracle like before. Got your Bab sitting there at 1 right now. If you can get rid of them, you can create some kind of fight for yourself, but the Shatter is online. Gotta make sure not to hit that. Raze is gonna go through, looking for bodies right now, ready for the Shatter directly afterwards. Gonna manage the contact, not gonna get stopped. They're gonna get drilled through, looking for the pin, gonna take care of them. It's just supports on the point, trying to get something going. Alexson on the outside. Unfortunately, the numbers game is proving to be a little too much right now. Just Punk on the scene right now. Has to create enough time for Tragic to be able to get back. Unfortunately, it's just not going to happen. First point going to go over to Guardians HC. This World Cup worked out really well for them. Mythos had a lot of fight back. Unfortunately, once that fight got onto the point, I mean, Mythos just had the advantage almost the entire time in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, in a head-to-head brawl, when you're looking at it, right? The Mei, Reaper, the Sim, all heroes that are absolutely massive for the side of Guardians, able to sort of come in, do as they please, time and again, in terms of the brawl, right? Being in your face. But Mythos, you know, they were on this Soldier Tracer the entire time, and while there was definitely value found for both Tragic and Alex, it is a lot harder to work with when you're just dealing with people barreling you down in your face here. So Mythos Phoenix, if they're going to continue to pilot this, they need to find some more space, give their DPS more room to breathe for them to find these consistent picks. As we're now heading over to the Garden, however, we are seeing a switch up of styles. The dive is now in play with a Pharah to boot here for Boeing. Going to be a bit difficult with this Soldier 76 still in play, but I like the explosion.
Yeah, I'm surprised with the pick, considering what we had. The Whoop's going to come through. It does not find any bodies yet, but causing a bunch of separation. Get everybody in some very weird places as Raze is going to get taken out. Boeing is going to go down on top of that as well. Unfortunately, again, the impact's already kind of been had right now because Boeing is just going to be really good at kind of forcing everybody into different places and kind of just basically subjugating them in so it eventually takes advantage. But that is 3 immediate swap side Mythos Phoenix, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, over to the Diva to just sort of give themselves this defense matrix. But from there, right, you see the Bastion in play, as well as it's now a Break Lucio setup here for the backline. I'll be interested to see if this actually manages to make its way out of spawn. And it seems like this is going to be their game plan heading forward. I mean, you're lacking a lot of heals in the long fight, but ultimately, you do have a high amount of burst potential, I guess, with it here. So that's Mythos' plan heading in.
I'm not gonna be that kind about a Megalith. I think this is I think this is a bad backline overall right now. This, like you said, it doesn't have much of a sustainability. It doesn't have a whole lot of healing. Yes, you have some good utility, but you have to make use of it and be able to kind of just out damage it. And the Doom is going in super deep and kind of just running everybody down. That's just a bad play at the end of the day. And now, rest of Guardians HC is gonna suffer for it right now. Gonna run through his Alex into the rest of this squad. Just trying to clear out the point right now. Hairball is able to build up some more of that charge. Will eventually go down as they're gonna clear up the point. going to be about 42% on the board right now. A lot of ults coming up online. Hairball especially going to get a lot of value off this Death Blossom if Punk isn't smart about the speed.
I mean, yeah, the sound barrier as well as the Defense Matrix are both going to be factors for the Blossom here. But again, we're going to see Tragic try to lurk forward here, but they are found out. Got to be a little bit more sneaky than that to try to get a Pulse Bomb in against this composition now.
Yep, Sooner Rush going to be used here. Hairball already taking a ton of pressure, going to get forced out right now. Beat's going to get used right here, so now got to think about whether to go for it. They're going to go for it. It's pretty much going to be right in the face of that Bastion to see if the pressure can come through. It's kind of back and forth right now. Hairball sitting super low, but has the Wraith to get a bunch of sustain as the Beat's going to be used on the other side. Hairball does not get caught with it, though, so it's just supports on the scene. Going to get wiped away, and now it's just on the two of them to try to get out of their life, because unfortunately this fight is over. And I've used, I believe, 3 or 4 of your good ultimates for that fight, and you end up getting nothing out of it.
Yeah, you throw everything in the kitchen sink in there for Guardians, and they come up with Zilch. So now, just going to be working with the Meteor Strike. It's going to allow Expert to play a little bit more aggressive, but, you know, sure, you have an escape tool. This aggression has not been working out for you, right? It's been creating situations where Expert gets punished.
Ooh, interesting spot right now. The ult's never good in the first place, so not that great of an ult. But regardless, cluster things waited for a minute. Now they're going to all go through right now. You already see right now a lot of people low. Cairo, Slaying Beast, all sitting low right now. Expert trying to make some impact right now. You have Hairball on the scene, making things happen right now. A lot of damage coming off from Hairball and Expert. Unfortunately, the rest of the team just can't survive long enough to actually have enough impact with it. So 75% on the board. You see Boeing Sun trapped over there. They might be able to get out. They got the Mega over there. They're sitting at 1. It looks like they're going to get out of there alive, realistically.
Yeah, I mean, right now the story is Raze and Tragic, right? They are pretty much perfectly in sync with wherever they're wanting to go, and Guardians is just getting caught out by a time and again, even in fights where they find picks. So heading into this final one, they have to try to find some way to mitigate this damage-dealing duo.
Yep, and now you're looking for this carry. Gonna find it on the dot, and now could fall all apart from here. Stuck, gonna be thrown on. Expert gonna get knocked out of the mech because of it. Hairball's still on the scene as people have to go back and try to touch his point. Unfortunately, it's just not quite going to happen, and that means we're gonna go to our 3rd round here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's gonna head over to the Tried and True Control Center where Brawl is king. So in terms of what we just saw, a lot of that isn't gonna be super viable for this last part of the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be something that has to be taken into account here, right? Both teams have now had a round where they look fairly confidently in control, but Guardians definitely faring better on the Brawl here. Mythos Phoenix, I'm very curious as to what their approach is going to be, right? Do they just play into a Brawl mirror, knowing that maybe they're at a slight disadvantage, but they just have to play it anyway because of the nature of Control Center? Or do they try to force some more of this Diva, right? We've seen more and more of the Diva plays come out here, trying to use this Defense Matrix and things like that. Ultimately, the decision seems to be not that. It's going to be a Sojourn Tracer setup here with, again, the Orisa almost kind of getting left on an island in a lot of these fights.
Yeah, so the Soj needs to kind of focus on rotation right now. Unfortunately, they might be rotating into the spawn room soon if they're not careful, but Expert, they perhaps a little too far ahead for what they were hoping for, forced into a really weird position, but Tragic's going to be the first one onto the scoreboard here. Expert just managed to find a pick of their own. Unfortunately, it's just not going to work out at the end of the day. And remember, the kind of style that they're running right now with Guardians, they should be able to beat them in an all-out brawl, realistically. But unfortunately, they collapse in, and that wall really ends up honestly kind of hurting them more than helping them. They were able to kind of capitalize on the fact that Alexen was in a pretty bad position.
Not only that, but right, we have to think about when a Symmetra is in play. It's all about charging up that beam's damage to level 3 to letting it maximize out. When you move too fast just like that, we saw there, it creates a situation where the Sim's not going to be able to do anything in these fights. So you really have to give your Sim time to work.
Yeah, 100% right now. Sim is getting a lot of charge. They're going to run down this Orisa. Raze is sitting super low. The pin's going to come through right now. You need to try to find a pick right now. Unfortunately, Alexen's going to be a little too late for this scenario right here. Might manage to get a body off of this. You managed to get the Lucio low as Tragic is on the scene. Unfortunately, walking right into Expert on the situation, so point gonna flip at 31%. Gotta take a reset. Lots of ults coming up online though, so Mythos Phoenix has a couple of really good ones coming online, specifically those DPS ultimates.
Yeah, I mean, tons of ultimates, though, to consider on both sides of things, right, as everybody's building towards it here. You're going to be looking for these off angles if you're Mythos Phoenix with these DPS ults, like you said. That's where their value is going to be found. Meanwhile, everybody on Guardians grouped up and ready.
Yep, you should be going to be using this situation right now. I'm going to try to run down Raze. Unfortunately, They just went the wrong way in that situation, so now they're going to be taken out. You see these supports right now trying to kind of just stay alive right now. It's a lot of back and forth at the time, but we're seeing the Nano be used thrown on the Tragic in the situation. They're finding, in fact, already a 2K to their name. Almost managed to one-clip Boeing Stun in this situation as the sleep's going to come through, but it's got to find the value, and it is getting it. Tragic has a 3K to their name. Make it a 4. They have pulled this one back, and now 42% on the board here. A risky use of the Nano, but it pays off big time.
I mean, that was definitely a gamble and a half there, but Mythos Phoenix having that confidence in their Tracer player to light it up as we saw there. Now heading into this next fight, you have to start worrying about the ult advantage that's in Guardian's favor here.
Yep, fight concluded going on right now. We see the wall being used. Carlos does manage to help get rid of Raze in the situation, which means the fight's kind of already going to be at a bit of an end point right now. It's going to be a very quick take back in the situation. Use a lot of ultimates to do it. That's the biggest part of that situation, but at the end of the day, are going to take it, and now both teams sitting around that 50% marker.
Yeah, and this Ana could get caught off. This could be a massive stagger here. Good time sleep, but it's just too little too late.
Yeah, but the fight's still kind of on right now. Remember, the spawns are way closer for them. Experts got to try to get out of there. They're going to get out for a while. Unfortunately, getting out doesn't mean they're going to stay alive. They are taken care of. So now the thing is that these fights are getting very messy. They're very back and forth. That point has slid at least 4 times in total now. And now Guardians kind of have to bank on the Shatter having a lot of impact.
I mean, it theoretically should, right? As long as they can force the shield out from Raze, there's really no other way to mitigate it unless Punk can make sure to stay high in the air and deliver that sound barrier after the fact here. So Mythos Phoenix really is going to have to try to be careful with that.
Ooh, yep. Couple bodies get low. Shatter comes through. It's going to catch on to at least one. Beacon to be used though, so Alex going to have no fear of going down in that situation. And now you have to worry about what to do right now if you're Guardian HC, because now you've lost your tank and you've lost everybody in this situation. Clearing them up. Boeing Sun not going to live, and now 1 fight left on the board. And all you've got is maybe your beat online, and that might be it.
Yeah, and immediately you see the switches. Yeah, full switches to the stall characters here, but you're pushing into a Bastion ult, which is going to hurt whoever's touching the point, as well as the Annihilation here. It's really not a good setup for Guardians.
Yeah, but if they can manage to collapse in on somebody, it could have a lot of impact. Remember, Hairball could do a lot of damage very quickly, but Beat's going to come online. That is the last ult to their name right now. Going to see the Bastion ult come online. Going to cause a little bit of impact. And now everybody's sitting in a tucking corner right now, waiting for Raze to have some impact. Already is helping get rid of one within Expert, and now it's all about just sustaining, letting Tragic do the work. They got a 2K to the name already, and you're not going to need a whole lot more than that. Everybody doing their part here in Orbit Array, just for a little bit of celebration. A 3K at the end there for Alexon, and it's going to give Mythos Phoenix the map to start us out here today.
Very back and forth affair. If this is an indicator of what's to come, we should be in for an absolute banger of a series here. Good adaptations from the side of Mythos Phoenix. They definitely come at it with a bit of an unorthodox style to their brawl, right? The Tracer and the Sojourn, not what you're expecting, but they do manage to find their value each, especially Tragic on that Tracer, really making sure to hammer down on these supports time and again, being that chaotic factor that's needed when you're playing, you know, these little bit more split compositions. And so Guardians, I feel like, you know, you just sort of got to take a deep breath and head into the next one with your heads held high, because ultimately it wasn't really the crazy mistakes that you would expect from them that cost them that. It was more so just, you know, there were certain fights that you just could not win. You got out-ulted.
Yeah, and let's be real, both teams did make their fair share of mistakes. Nobody came in here and played a very perfect game to get things started here. But it's not expected everybody's supposed to come in and play perfect either. The whole point, especially playing at this tier, is that people are going to make mistakes, and the biggest thing at the end of the day is seeing who can take advantage of those mistakes more in the situation. And Mythos, especially kind of rounding things up there, they kind of had the advantage in that situation. As we get to look at some of these, some of the scoreboards here moving, and a couple things down immediately. But look at Alexon right now with that 14k damage sitting on the board right now, and Tragic managing to accumulate 20 final blows, but also 43 eliminations on top of that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a great showing from the Tracer here. And, you know, obviously on the other side of things, Guardians had their moments, but when you end up losing the map, your stats just don't look as impressive, of course, here. We are going to take a bit of a closer look, though, at this Tragic versus Boeing head-to-head here. Not on the similar heroes, you know, the Tracer versus things like the Sojourn and other things that Boeing ended up having to be on there. But, you know, overall, right, you're seeing, while the damage isn't, you know, is very comparable between these two, look at that damage taken number from the side of Boeing, right? Having to constantly be under fire from these DPS. And Tragic, I mean, what is that, 1.6 death per 10? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I believe they only died twice throughout that entire series, which even as a tracer, I think is pretty impressive, especially when like everybody else on the board got at least 8 deaths apiece in that situation. I think everybody from over on the side of Guardians HC was in the double digits. But I mean, either way, it is incredible to stay alive for that long and be able to kind of reset, because being able to stay alive in that situation and be able to do that kind of helps your team reset a little bit faster, because sometimes the tracer gets caught out last because they're in a very precarious spot, or a pretty bad spot. But in this situation, Tragic was able to survive most of these encounters, and it really pays off at the end of the day because it's a very close affair to get things started. And Melas, as you said, this could be a sign of things to come because these teams very even on this first map.
Yeah, very even on this one, and I expect that to sort of continue as we go throughout the series, right? Because it wasn't just a blowout, right? Mythos Phoenix didn't run away with it. There was times that they definitely looked inferior. They looked like they simply were out of answers and they could not come up with anything against Guardians' Brawl composition here. That being said, knowing where we're headed for hybrid, right? Those hit scan, I feel like, are going to have a little bit more of impact as we normally see here on Blizzard World, right? The high grounds across both first and second point, as well as the cheeky little angles you can find on third, really make it so the DPS have a chance to take over the map. But not every DPS player is capable of living up to that power.
Yeah, it's just one of those situations where you go to a map like this and there just is more power in your hands. There's more ability to kind of shift the game in your hands. I mean, we kind of saw it earlier today where sometimes that power just doesn't come to fruition. We had Senna playing earlier, and while they were having absolute impact, we just saw a tonal shift by the other team just to be able to give them more pressure and make it so the DPS don't get as much value. And that's something that's very realistic here as well. We saw both teams kind of willing to go a bit of a dive-like format. So there's a grand possibility that comes out over here on Blizzard World as well, because this is kind of the map where different parts of the map kind of benefit different areas right now. That poke and dive can be really good for first and second, but things like that brawl can come out on the third point, so the Risa might make an appearance there. But Megalas, it all starts with this very first point, which for some teams can be a quick capture, but if you're not entirely sure on your rotations and how you want to take over this point, it can be very difficult to get through.
Absolutely here, and it seems like maybe a bit of a set strategy coming in for the side of Guardians with their substitutions. Having a new DPS player in, this should be indicating that Kizzo is here to play some of those hit scan potentially. Could be wrong, could be putting Hair back into that role while maybe, putting Kizzo over towards, something like that flex DPS, the Genji, of course, what we saw highlighted. But, only time will tell if these substitutions are actually going to have the impact they're seeking right now. When you have those specific lineups, it does, generally, though, indicate this switch in composition styles. So maybe relying less on the brawl here, maybe instead ready to play into Mythos Phoenix's game a little bit, maybe match them on certain hero picks, as we see Phoenix currently on the defense, so you can tell that they have this Ashe Tracer in play, a very iconic staple duo here on First Point Blizzard World because of the consistent damage Ashe can output. Meanwhile, Garden's starting to form something in their spawn that it's looking a little interesting.
I imagine Hairball just has to go on to the Tracer or the Ashe themselves, right? Realistically, with what you have here in the situation, as Cassidy's going to come out online. Cassidy's not a bad shout either. I don't know if things like the Deadeye is going to work quite as appropriately as they would when you're running something like the Orisa, and it's a little more close quarters where you can kind of use the Deadeye a little more efficiently. But Megalas, it's something we have to see here. The most thing that kind of comes into my mind is Gizzo is just to go immediately up on the high grounds. In fact, they're running the Zen with the Ana right there. Those are two supports right now that can kind of make it easier for dives and these to take place. So you're looking for Discords, and you're definitely looking for antis right now. As Gizzo is just really trying to get in there and find something.
Yeah, exactly. This Tracer does have to be, warded and pushed off of the flank. Tragic will be running for the time being here. But yeah, like you said, it's very interesting to run this backline knowing how good Tragic is, but now missing from the fight.
Yep, but Heels just gets left alone. But Kizzo is just in the backline, kind of do whatever they want to do. Already 2K to their name right now. You just try to find a pick right now. If you're Raze, unfortunately, you got to try to do that DM and find the kill at the same time. They are going to be able to do it eventually. And now it's all about Raze being able to survive right now. Need to be able to live so the rest of the team can come back, have some impact. Diva's sitting low right now. Remember, just has that on them right now. And they're going to burn them through. And unfortunately, that could end the fight right there. Raze just needs to make sure to stay in this mech.
And yeah, I mean, that's going to be the crucial thing here, because it's not only staying in the mech, right? It's now this massive amount of heal. Oh, but actually going to have to expend the bomb to get the safe in the mech.
Yeah, and that could be devastating at the end of the day. Hairball does get taken out, though, so they get the space to work with once again. But at the same Guardians have managed to work up to that Nano, and now, I mean, you're just playing for a Nano Blade at this point. There's nothing that Mythos Phoenix has that could realistically stop it, except for maybe the rally, and that's a big maybe.
It's a very large maybe here. I think you're going to be looking for disruption, right? That break flail from Radical Metal could be massive in deterring the Genji and making it just a little bit harder for these dash with the blade here. But yeah, I mean, playing for the Nano Blade is a safe shout.
Yep, it's coming in right now, looking hot. It's going to try to find something. Slashes through Alexen to get things started. Immediately creating the 5v4, but even if only has one, it has found its impact immediately in this situation. And you're going to see it. Oh no, that's devastating. Now Heels is going to invest that onto the point as well. I mean, that's essentially going to call for the point. I think Tragic could maybe touch, but I don't know how worth it really is to try to do it. But they're going to go for it. They're going to try to invest on this point, but eventually that break's going to have to force the touch right there. Tragic is still alive as that break is down right now, trying to see if he can get more members back right now. The Diva is going to have the touch next. The DM is through, and now this fight is very much alive, but Expert has the bomb on the point. If they just drop it, this is essentially done and over with right now, and they go around. It's going to fall in the back line. You see bodies onto the point right now, and eventually this fight is just going back their way. Unfortunately, all this investment, all that planning with the Nano Blade and collapsing in, it means nothing right now. You get 2 ticks, but that was your big fight win plan right there.
I mean, yeah, I'm very confused as to what happened to Expert's bomb there. Like you said, if it was just dropped onto the objective, that should have been the guarantee. Its Guardians only needed about, what is that, 4.2 more percent before they officially had it capped here. And now Guardians pivoting over to a Winston comp with only a minute left. This is starting to reek of a little bit of desperation, Hunter.
Yeah, it kind of is right now, and it's not a bad shot by any means. Pulse Bomb going to come out of line, just going to find one big old shield and no kills on top of that. So now 45 seconds on the clock. Gotta be mindful right now, though, as unfortunately Alexen gets taken off that point, creates the 4v4 right now, as Hairball sitting at 3 right now, does manage to grab a mini health back. Unfortunately, doesn't mean a whole lot. The rally's going to be used here, going to help get rid of Kairos in the situation, and now 3v2 on the board. And now if you're Guardians HC, this might be the situation where you just have to take the reset here, and it looks like that's the case, as only one potential fight left online, and they have no ultimates except for maybe a Dry Blade.
Yeah, this Dry Blade is going to be having, contest the bomb coming out from Raze here, a beautiful remech tool, as well as Mythos Phoenix going to have both DPS ults when this next fight breaks out here. No defense matrix means that everyone's going to have to try to cower in fear as the tactical visor just range shots here. Mythos Phoenix have set themselves up beautifully to get a first point hold.
Yeah, right now, Tragic got to make sure to stay alive. Alexen already going to use this a little early, try to find some impact right now. See the dive going through. Expert's going to get taken care of. Hairball going to get forced back. Already a 2K onto Alexen in this situation. Now the touches need to start coming through right now. Kaizo has this blade, unfortunately, is going to come out, and it is set directly back. Heels, only person standing. Mythos Phoenix with the full hold in this situation, and now this is where it's going to get very dangerous for Guardians HC, because if they lose essentially one fight, I mean, that's going to come to a complete collapse for this map.
Yeah, and you don't want to find yourselves that far behind already, so it's going to be a tall ask right now for Guardians. Again, you start to wonder back to what happened for their attack here. Like, there were so many moments that it felt like it was winnable, right? They had some good early picks and things of that nature, but the pressure just simply wasn't there. I think, this Nanoblade, the fact that it only came away with one, massive kite potential here for Phoenix, but then also the fact that they could also re-engage after this fact. That bomb, if it lands on point, it's a completely different story. We're looking at a completely different map.
Yeah, it kind of is. I think they really go to second point and maybe beyond if that happens. And obviously I didn't see everything, we don't get to see every single little thing at every time, but I imagine that bomb was meant to be thrown just like up into the air directly, just to kind of cause people to kind of move around and cause more confusion. But I genuinely think in that situation, the right call is literally just to just hit the Q and just drop it onto the point in the situation and just do that. But unfortunately, now you got to try to play perfect. And again, proofs in the pudding with a lot of these stats right there. I mean, Kizzo came out and did a lot of damage over here on top of that. But at the end of the day, look at someone like, again, Tragic, who doesn't have a whole lot of damage, but was managing to survive a lot of the time and just caused the most recontention. I mean, they're the reason that Race and the rest of the team was even able to get back a time. They stalled that point for an extremely long amount of time.
Yeah, beautiful stall, and now we'll have to see if it can be mirrored on the other side here. Guardians, they're going with a Torb defense here, trying to mitigate maybe this Tracer's impact, as they do want to run the Bap Zen. Obviously, this is a solid amount of healing, but you're more looking at its damage output between these two supports. It's absolutely ludicrous. It's a good shout from Guardians here, but it is fragile. You have to make sure to keep both these healers alive.
Yeah, and right now, Tragic just getting a ton of information, just running through that backline. Kizzo already going to go down in the situation. Now it's up to Hairball and the rest of the squad up top to try to create something. Not going to find anything right there on the Dynamite, so going to be able to have a bit of a reprieve for a couple of moments as Race is going to get knocked out of the mech here. And now, you got to be looking at pretty much anybody but the D.Va in this situation. Alexa needs to try to get a Dynamite up to higher ground and find some kind of value right now. You might find it, but the longer this goes on, the more dangerous it's going to get, because Kairos is going to get knocked out. They're not going to get the heals in time.
And now missing that main source of healing is going to be crucial here. Just as Zen Orb is going to keep everyone alive, and they can't do it well.
Yeah, this is slowly but surely falling apart now. Expert's not in the mech right now. Gizzo and Hairball gonna get eliminated in time. Everybody's sitting at 1 health, and unfortunately, it's all gonna come falling down. We saw Gizzo manage to get the Mega. They have a retouch, but they already know. I don't think it's even gonna happen.
I mean, yeah, if it's going to be done, it's going to be in the last moment, but it seems like that's not the case here. And Mythos Phoenix now find themselves 1 map away from that postseason shot here. And, you know, the upside, I guess, is that this clearly was the one heavily non-brawl map in the pool here for Guardians, but to now put yourself in the situation of reverse sweep is brutal.
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, you have that pressure on you now. I mean, you had pressure on you to begin with. That was pretty much besides the point, but now you're in a situation where you have to play perfect from here on out. You have to go through and win 3 straight maps. And that's not a very easy thing to do, let's be honest. It may be easier on the side of the first 3, but doing it on the last 3 while you're behind, you have to try to gain that confidence back. I mean, that's not something that every single team can pull off. You have to make something happen. And again, it's not like this is a playoff kind of round where you have, like, oh, there's the bomb right there. Literally did nothing, unfortunately. But as I was saying, it's one of those situations where you don't have, like, loser's picks. You can't take it to a map that's specifically in your situation. You have to very much go along with that map pool and hope that what you have practiced for these last 3 maps is going to have impact. Or if you have to get creative and try to make something happen and just try to find some value elsewhere, you think there might be a counter. But unfortunately, the counter picking didn't have a whole lot of impact throughout this map.
No, it did not. Again, you know, maybe you question about subbing in your Zen player when you have a Tracer like Tragic going off in this manner. Granted, I say that and looking at our stats, clearly Alexson was the hero right now. I mean, 10 final blows, absolutely great. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, I feel so bad. You look at Kizzo. I mean, that's literally what? That's 6 out of 9 final blows. That's over a deadlift. It just could not do more for the squad. You hate to see it sometimes.
Yeah, you do. They found a lot of value, and honestly, both of our tanks kind of found a good amount of value as well. But as I'll kind of show you in a minute, between Raze and Expert, I mean, again, Raze has had one heck of a day so far, especially on this D.Va, and there's a lot of numbers that stand out. You look at those eliminations, basically triple as many right there. You look at that damage blocked, it's over 2k more, damage taken 4k more in that situation, yet they were able to survive. Way more, by the way. Again, 1.8 deaths in that situation. I believe that amounted to 1, maybe 2. I think it was only a single death throughout that entire series, or not that entire series, but that entire map. So at the end of the day, I mean, again, doing a lot for the squad, and now Megalas, unfortunately, it's one of those situations where you have to try to bounce back right now. You have to try to find some place to get confidence from, and again, that can be tough for some teams to kind of pull that off.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's tough in a normal matchup, but when you have this insane pressure on you, right, of knowing that this is your last shot, you have to win. There is no other option if you want to keep your season alive. You know, it is difficult here. Obviously, you know, not going to say it's impossible or anything like that, as Guardians has shown some good signs of life here, but, you know, heading forward, it is going to be a very difficult path for them.
Yeah, it 100% will be, but they have the opportunity to do so. They have the opportunity to come back, make the reversal happen, win 3 in a row, but of course, they're going to get a couple minutes to kind of take a break, relax, and that break applies to us as well here, so we're going to cut it to that break here momentarily, but of course, make sure you stick around because, while it is 2-0 right now, we might have our last map in front of us, but you got to stick around to see if maybe Guardians HE can start that reverse sweep. We'll find out on the other side of the break.
Name straight, new age. Name straight new age. Name straight new age.
We are potentially only one map away from deciding the last spot in the playoffs here in Megalas. It was looking like a back and forth affair to get things going. Both teams very much giving it their all back on Lijiang, but the get into our second map. We head over to Blizzard World, and now it feels like an entirely different story in this sense, because now we're sitting here at 2-0, match point for Mythos Phoenix, and Guardians HC only one map potentially away from getting knocked out and not even having a chance to get into those playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that map, you know, I'm going to play devil's advocate as long as I can here for Guardians, right? That map was probably the worst map in this entire pool for them, right? We saw how comfortable they looked on the brawl comps. You can't really brawl on Blizzard World. It's just not a possibility, right? That being said, you still have put yourself behind. You're in a reverse sweep situation here, starting with Clash, which is just such a toss-up mode. Even if you're confident in the comps, where we're probably going to see a lot of that brawl style, you know, it is still going to be an uphill battle for sure just to get the ball rolling on this reverse sweep. So Guardians, they have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, but as we've alluded to already, story's not quite over yet. There is the opportunity to come back, but it's got to start here at our third and potentially final map here. As we're going to head over to Hanaoka, we are going to Clash, baby. And Clash, again, I make the point a lot here at CGL that a lot of the 3-1s that we've managed to have this season let Mega last, a lot of those ones come out of this Clash mode. It is one of those modes that can be very chaotic, that can kind of shift things around a little bit and give teams another opportunity to make it back into the series. It's very much how Sucker Royale used to be, and kind of, I mean, to an extent still is, where a lot of teams would go there almost just to kind of stop the pace of the series, to slow everything down, put it back into their hands of their hit scan DPS, and kind of just take it from there. And Hanaoka, it might not be the exact same feeling, but honestly, it does feel like Clash is just kind of almost like a reset in a sense.
Yeah, it very much gives Clash is definitely the mode where you can sort of regroup your mental, like the chance of, oh, what's score 0-0 can echo throughout the VC and things like that, because you truly do have to completely focus your energy and time onto the Clash map, right? It's so fast-paced, even if you're not playing standard brawl or anything like that, it's just so quick with everything that you're trying to do. So now, you know, you have to actually, you know, be there in the moment. It's a good refresher for a lot of these series, and that's why you do see it as sort of this flip-flop map where teams, even if they're the underdog, can come in and get a map win away from some of these better teams.
I mean, yeah, 100%, and this is where you kind of see one of those things where it's been a long time since I've seen a 5-0 on Hanaoka, or even on Clash in general. I think the very first one we had in the season here on broadcast did end up being 5-0, and I don't know if we've had one since then. But a lot of situations this ends in like 5-3, 5-4 fashion, because there's a lot of back and forth. It's really hard to take that final point, and even then, it's not even really worth fighting for in the situation. But we're going to have to see what's going to happen, as we kind of alluded to it looking at things beforehand, but that is a lot of substitutions and a lot of players that were previously on different roles. This is interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, these substitutions, you know, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just pointing out what I see. This reeks of spaghetti slinging. Spaghetti is being slung at a wall, and we're looking for something to stick right now. That being said, you know, Hairball, I did get to speak with them earlier. They did say that they were, you know, a flex player, that they did flex around where they needed to. So maybe this is something they have actually practiced.
You know, I'm sensing it right now. It's going to be like a Junker Queen with like a Genji Tracer and a Kiri Lucio. I can hear it in my head. I mean, I think I got every single thing of that wrong, but it's going to play a similar way. Listen, it's going to play a very similar way. You're putting everything into the Zarya, and if they come out the way this first fight seems to be going, Guardians actually kind of have the advantage. The problem is, Mythos and Ray specifically is going to be able to pretty much instantaneously adjust to the Zarya and probably go the Diva, or not the Diva, go to the Winston, maybe their own Zarya, or go over back to the Risa Ramatra. So this first fight, not quite in their hands, but you're going to have to see how it starts first.
Yeah, exactly. It will be a solid matchup here. The Zarya, I mean, this is going to be something you expect Hairball to play, especially if they've been playing DPS, right? One of those, you know, more DPS-friendly tanks where you always see those players have a good transfer over. Meanwhile, the Reaper, interesting one, teleporting into the backline. Let's see what the value can be.
Yeah, right now it's kind of creating a bit of a pincer, kind of creating a lot of attention. Biggest issue is that, first of all, tried to win back up to the high ground. That was the first mistake. The second mistake is that both DPS are on the same area, and now Pony's in a rough situation on the point right now. Or more so, Alexon is getting themselves a rough situation. Ray's going to get knocked out of the mech. The bright side is that it got halfway claimed by Mythos Phoenix, so a retouch is possible if Raze is able to get back into the mech. But even then, that's a bit of a toss-up right now.
toss-up indeed here, but hey, listen, this is a good start right now for the side of Guardians here. The question is, will it be a full-scale re-engagement? It seems like the answer is yes.
And that's just unfortunate. I mean, honestly, they're going to end up losing this fight, obviously, and there might be a reset for another. But I mean, Megalus, I don't know if you agree with me. They really should have just tried to collapse on that in that situation, it feels like.
I mean, yeah, they sort of split their focus, right? They sort of passively sat after what they believed to be a fight when it gave this opportunity for Mythos Phoenix to come back in. You can't be passive against a squad like this because otherwise you're going to be found out time and again.
Ooh, Hairball just got sent into oblivion, and now, without even having to swap characters, they've already figured out this Zarya. As soon as that bubble came out, everybody didn't even touch a button. They just sat there and just kept healing Raze, and now point's gonna unlock. They have a retouch. Hairball is gonna give up on that Zarya.
Over to the Orisa now, much more standard. There should be time for a touch to come through, right? Even if it is a staggered out one where you have to send Kizzo in or something like that. But, you know, Mythos Phoenix on the other side of things, right? You're getting close to this Death Blossom as well as the Juno ult to make it that much more lethal.
Yeah, we see a Deadeye in use, trying to find something right now. No kind of value being fallen from Boeing Sun, and now Alexan is looking for it. They're going to drop behind. They're going to go in. Going to get stunned out of it, though, so no value can be found. A lot of ults being utilized, but most importantly, Hairball needs to be kept up here, sitting super low. Pyro's not going to be able to stay alive long enough to use the Orbital Ray, and now they're just going to get forced off one after another. It's going to be 2-0 this early on, and now Guardians HC back against the wall, and Mythos Phoenix have to make a choice here for point E.
Yeah, the choice is, do they actually attempt to assault it, or are they simply going to try to draw ults out from the side of Guardian and then be able to come back in for a favorable point E attack? It seems like they're willing to get aggressive here, but the question now is, Mythos Phoenix, what's the investment looking like?
Well, it's already one investment, found really nothing in the situation, but Boeing's already down. Point's going to begin to unlock it. Remember, that first hit goes down pretty quickly. Going to see if he can find something. Kairos is going to get almost immediately eliminated. And now that's the third point on the board right now. 2 more ticks, and it will end our series. And they're falling apart one after another. I may have Caster cursed this one earlier on. It's already at a 4-0 now. It is slowly ticking up Megalast. One more fight on the board. They're trying to get out of the spawn doors. They're going one after another on the board, trying to find anything on this Terra Surge right now. But Alexan is ready to go still. Hairball's in a rough position. It's going to throw us a bunch of disruption at the end of the day. I definitely Caster cursed it. That is a 5-0 to finishing out, and Mythos Phoenix will be moving on to the playoffs.
I mean, I don't want to say I called it. The buy is toxic. I'll say it, Tragic. That's toxic. But, I mean, I don't want to say I called it anything, but really, I mean, after losing that first map, it was incredibly close. I was like, oh, you know, we're in for a good series here. You could see sort of the fear almost build up on the side of Guardians, right? They realized how much pressure they were under, and they slowly started to crack, right? First, making some interesting swaps, you know. You can have the best Zen player in the world. I don't swap them in on a Tracer that's doing as much as Tragic was on map 1. And then, you know, here on Clash, right, you're just sort of swapping people around. You're looking for something to stick on this wall, and ultimately you didn't come up with anything here. Absolutely tragic to sort of collapse, but again, that's just all about the pressure, right? And it just, some teams, they can't crack it.
Yeah, and it's those situations where, again, you get into a desperation area, and again, you stole the fight back from them still. You saw some good plays still being kind of presented, but unfortunately, again, they made the mistake early on. They decided to press back, and they took their foot off the pedal, and as soon as they took their foot off the pedal, all Mythos did was just push theirs down all the way, and they didn't stop. Again, we don't usually see teams go for the heavy investment when it comes to this E and this A point. You don't see it, and there's good reasons why you don't see it. It's very hard to take. Unfortunately, though, at the end of the day, I mean, again, Mythos just kept going at it, and Guardians HC just was never able to fully take control back into the situation. So unfortunately, Guardians HC, that is their last game of the season. They are going to be knocked out. They are not going to be in the top 4. And Megalast, unfortunate situation. But at the end of the day, first of all, I guess Boeing Sun technically gets a flooded deadlift? Technically?
I mean, on the other side of things, Raze actually has a flooded deadlift for the winning team. So, I mean, you want to talk about something, right? I mean, that D.Va player... And it's crazy, right? I mean, you don't expect tanks to be the ones to be able to get deadlifts here, but hey, you know, you're not going to question it when you're able to fly around, do all of that damage. You get a quick close-up of the stats here, just letting them know. And just, yeah, look at this, 0 deaths. It's just phenomenal D.Va play across the board here. Great supports, you know, keeping it up, as you see, 6,600 damage taken, but, you know, not having to worry about their life as their supports are there for them.
I mean, yeah, we pretty much saw that Raze pretty much stayed up directly in the face of Hairball for most of that series, especially while they were on that Zarya. And again, the biggest reason why that happened is, again, that Zarya doesn't get value until you give it value. That's the situation. And they basically never shot into the bubble in that situation, so they never really got the value they were hoping for. So literally all Raze did was just stand in front of a Zarya that was never going to be able to out-damage the healing you can get from something like a Juno. So unfortunately, again, the counterplay came through. They let their foot off the gas on the very first fight, and Mythos just took complete advantage of the situation.
Exactly, like they have to. And now with the postseason ahead of them, Mythos Phoenix, I mean, I'm not going to say it's completely theirs, right? There's still tons of other teams that they're going to have to battle through. It's going to be an insane bracket, but the future's looking bright for Mythos here. We will have to see exactly how that all shakes out here. But I mean, hey, listen, I was crunching the math earlier. If you want to get math nerd, they could technically jump up to like number 2 seed if there's a bunch of losses and weird things, but that's just nerdy math stuff. The point is, Mythos Phoenix, they're great.
Yeah, no, it came out and proved it here today. I believe we'll find out later for sure, but I believe they move up to that 3rd seed with the way things are right now. But either way, that is we'll the desk take care of that eventually. But we still have another job here, Mega Lance, and of course that's gonna be setting up for an interview for you. That's gonna be on the other side of this break, so don't delay because I'm sure it's gonna be a good one. Welcome back from the other side of the break. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here on the other side of a 3-0. Mythos going to be able to move on into the playoffs. Joining us here today, the Tracer player over from Mythos Phoenix. Tragic. First and foremost, congratulations on a big win and securing a spot into the playoffs.
Thank you.
Yeah. And obviously, you get to this point throughout the whole season. I mean, realistically, I want to start from the very beginning of this whole situation. What was kind of the expectations kind of going into the season? And what were you, at least I should say, is this where you were hoping to get out of the season to get into the top four to really secure that spot in the playoffs? Or were you hoping to perhaps aim a little bit higher than that?
I got a long story.
Let's go.
I didn't play the game for a year, and me and my friend Punk, we came back and we were like, oh, let's find a CGL team to play on. So I go into looking for players, and I find Candy, and I asked to try out, and we do all that, and I didn't know anybody on the team, so I didn't really have any expectations. I didn't know how good everybody was, and yeah, it was just a big. We've grown a lot as a team. I've been trying to drill it into our team's head that we need to calm, and it's finally starting to click in like the last weeks of the season. So, yeah, I didn't really have any expectations, but I'm glad we got to this point.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, better late than never to start getting some of those fundamentals down here. But, going through this matchup tonight specifically, obviously the stakes were high. We got to hear in the pregame interview about how you've scrimmed this team a few times before. Do you feel like that gave you that sort of leg up where you knew exactly what they were going to run, or is it just sort of something else tonight?
I'll be truthful with you. I was not here for any of the times we scrimmed them. So I was going on like a complete blank, like a complete clear slate. But I never back down. Like I'll never like give up before the game even starts. And I saw once I saw what I was doing after the first map, I figured we'd had a good chance no matter what they were gonna run. I was confident in what we were running as well in our scrims.
Mm-hmm. Whether it was intentional or not, the Nick A30 reference, sure. You can go.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I thought about that when I said it.
You got to respect it. But, I mean, yeah, so now having secured that postseason berth here, I mean, obviously we talked about expectations and stuff already. You guys know that the ceiling is the limit and you're just coming in. But, looking ahead, is there any specific team here in GM that you maybe want to face, someone you need to get that revenge on, or is it just any and everybody's ready to go down?
I'll be truthful with you again. I don't know any of the teams. I don't know any of the players. Like I come into every game. I just load into the lobby and I just start playing. I'm not like as invested as I used to be into everything. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure whoever we come against, we'll do our best to win, and that's all we can do.
Okay. Well, we're not going to hear any specific players or specific teams in that situation. I'm asking you a very simple yes/no question. I want to see how confident you are, perhaps how confident you are in your team. Tell me right now, are Mythos Phoenix going to go and win the whole thing? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
You know what? I did have one player.
Oh, go for it.
I was waiting to beat Boeing Sun. That was the one player I was waiting to beat.
Well, you have gone and accomplished it here today and not have to worry about a rematch either. But, of course, we want to give the opportunity to go and celebrate. But before we properly send you off here, if there's anybody you want to say or anybody that you want to thank, we're going to give you the floor to be able to do so. So just take it away.
All right. I want to shout out my best friend who's helped me through it all, Punk, David. I want to shout out my whole team. Even though they never calm, thanks to everybody, and yeah, thanks to the other team for letting me do what I did, and yeah, that's all. One last shout out. I want to shout out my king, LeBron James. That's it.
Might be the best list of shout outs that I have seen in a long, long time right there. But either way, once again, congratulations on a big win to finish out the regular season, and congrats on getting into those playoffs, and best of luck to you for it.
Thank you.
All right, you take care now.
Thank you.
Wow. The king. Let's go.
I love the energy of just listen. I load into the lobby. I don't know who anyone is. It's like a player who comes in with like horse blinders on. You know how they have to like have the special glasses for the horses where they can't like spook them with it. They can just focus forward. That's just what Tragic does apparently on Tracer. Just loads in. All right, I'm here to play Tracer. Clock in, clock out. Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, Tragic is really just gonna have their Padawan moment where they're gonna go and win a title and just disappear, say nothing. It's gonna be it could be one of those situations, but I mean, either way, it's a big win for them here today. You gotta feel super confident after pretty much just kind of breaking down Guardians HC like that. Which again, it's not an easy thing to do, especially against a team that again would have gotten to the playoffs if they would have won here today. Unfortunately, they're going to have to start a whole new journey here. Hopefully next season, maybe we'll get the opportunity to see them Mega Last. But regardless of the fact, it's been a long day. We've been on here for a very long while. Even if it's only been 3 maps, it just felt like more than that for how back and forth it felt at the beginning, Mega Last. So, I mean, anything you want to say before we send it over? Because I was about to send it, but I mean, I feel like you got something left to say. I know you do.
I cooked.
Mega Last actually cooked.
I cooked. I was in the kitchen.
Actually, this is my message to the entire desk. I'm looking at you right now. Mega Last actively cooked all 4 of you. You must all be very ashamed for what has happened to you today. Either way,
oh no,
I'm gonna let you all cope with that. We're gonna send it over to the desk right now. Take it away and let me know how wrong you were.
What's this BM coming from our casters?
Right?
Guys,
what
the heck?
Whoa.
Well, I literally got the game right. Like, how am I getting cooked?
I know, you're getting cooked over here, Ray, because you didn't get the full 3-0. By the
to
way,
be fair, the Street Prophet was correct in this instance.
The streets actually talked
The
to
streets were actually correct this one time. So I will concede. She was right. All right.
I need to go
Tip of the hat,
find
Megalast.
whatever streets Megalast is walking around on. 'Cause I got a lot of questions on those streets I'm hoping they can answer. But Jeff, to start with you, I need to get some answers on what happened with this game because it felt so tense at the very beginning and then just fell off by like map number 3.
I mean, I think Guardians caught Mythos a little flat-footed here in the very beginning. We see Guardians take this opening round. They come out with the Reinhardt and the Sim. Hairball goes over into that Reaper, which, I mean, that is, to me, that feels that classic, 2019, 2020 Hairball. Like this has been a long-time favorite pick of this player. But then, I mean, just slowly, even through this map, we see adjustments being made. We see Rays coming off of the Orisa, going on to the Diva. Would end up going back over to the Orisa a little bit, but that Diva pick ended up being the kind of the center point, I think, of wrestling control away here in map 1, and after that, Mythos never let it go.
Oh my gosh, they never let it go. Joker, it was a complete tonal shift going into Blizzard World, and I think the straw that broke the camel's back was that very close point capture that Guardians HC almost accomplished, but Mythos Phoenix at the last second denied them that.
Yeah, like we were saying, we looked away for a second. It was 99. We were like, oh, yeah, this is going to get captured up by Guardians HC. Look away for a second. Oh, Mythos clutched it? I think really, like you said, that was kind of the turning point of it all. There was just no coming back for that for Guardians, right? And I think that just kind of mentally boomed them for the rest of the series.
And then, Ray, in the final map, right, so many different substitutions, and Hanaoka was a stomp by Mythos Phoenix. I don't think there's any other word that could be used to describe what happened.
I feel like on that last map, after them not getting that point capture on Blizzard World, that they were just scrambling to find some semblance to make something work, and it just wasn't going well for them. It wasn't their night. Phoenix, they played so well, and they punched their ticket to the playoffs.
They did. In a spectacular fashion, too, I think, at the end of the evening, Bull Skunk. If there was ever any doubts to be had about this team, I think they've all been wiped away. And especially, for a lot of us, our first time seeing them on the desk, the showing that we got from them was phenomenal, to say the least.
Absolutely. And, you know, being able to kind of wipe away a 3-0 loss last week, you know, and not lose hope coming into this match, and this match being so pivotal. And Mythos came in focused. I mean, and once they locked in, I mean, you could just see they were the better team here today. I mean, and still tip of the hat to Guardians for playing as well as they did, considering they've clearly had roster struggles. We heard that at the interview at the top of the series, that they've had roster struggles and been forced to make adjustments all season long. So, I mean, you got to give a little bit of props for making the best of what they had. But, I mean, Mythos came in solid, and you could tell that this was a rehearsed and practice squad, and all eyes were focused on making the postseason, and they nailed it, hit it. I mean, passed with flying colors.
They did. And Joker, the interview, too, I felt like, you know, Tragic felt, you know, enthused, I guess could be the word, maybe. Yeah. They felt ready, they felt determined, and even looking towards the future about what's happening, they're ready.
Shout out LeBron, man.
Yeah.
I mean, shots. I love shots. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was so fun. I mean, I knew he and Dave really didn't have like took time away from Overwatch. Like a lot of people did, right? They didn't really feel the urge to play it anymore. Like you said, I mean, you know, he's not as invested as we once were in the competitive aspect of it, but he's still locking in, still finding, doing really well for Mythos Phoenix, which is huge. Because without Tragic and Raze, I don't think they're seeing a victory here.
No, I don't think so either. And Ray, to cap off what we've seen from the night, right, from Mythos Phoenix, I want to get how you are feeling about this team going into the playoffs.
I'm feeling pretty good about them, as we kind of had that preamble at the beginning. I mean, from Hunter and Nenra, the number 1 seed in this competition, in this division. They have one loss on the season, and it was to Mythos. I mean, Tragic kind of talked about it. You know, they brought in him and I can't remember the in-game name, Dave Punk. Thank you. Yeah. Brought both of them in at the beginning, so they were newbies, didn't really know each other, and they felt like, you know, as the season's gone on, he says, I've been getting on them about calming. It's finally starting to come together, and I think, you know, given all of that building they've been doing, I think they're primed and ready to go win it all.
I think so too. And hey, you know, winning is a lot of fun. Being together as a unit is a lot of fun, and as a team, obviously. But we do have to award someone tonight our match MVP. And I don't think anyone showed off and showed out more in force, except for maybe one other player. But the end of the evening, it is going to be the Raze MVP. And, you know, Joker, we talk a lot about the impacts that tanks have on the great game of Overwatch 2, right? Being the only one of your roles, so a lot of pressure. So it's easy to, you know, look at a tank and wonder what they could be doing, how they could be doing things better. And I felt like for Raze, they were operating at peak efficiency almost all night long.
Yeah, I feel like they were the driving force behind most of this, besides Tragic, right? If it wasn't Raze getting a kill, or if it wasn't Tragic getting a kill, it was Raze, right? They were getting one, maybe 2, 3 kills in each single fight, and they really were that driving force for Mythos Phoenix to allow the rest of the team to get aggressive and allow them to do whatever they really wanted to do to take down Guardians here. Yeah, and Jeff, right? You look at Raze, you look at some of the tanks that we saw from them tonight, but none of them really epitomized the tank play that they had, and the diva that they were making shine bright like a beacon for the rest of the team to follow.
And kind of heralding back to when we first saw Juno introduced, before the Orisa meta, if you think back, well, Juno's first foray was alongside a diva, and that we saw a lot more of that. I think that's when we saw Ray shine. It was doing such a good job of getting into the backline and finding those supports so early in the fights, was just a menace into the backline, and of course able to peel and protect their own, but it was really the assassination attempts that I think really stood out, and we were seeing Rays in the kill feed time and time again, and it was almost always a support on the right-hand side of that name.
Yeah, and Ray, right, you look at what happens with a team that is able to support their tank to do the insane things that we saw, obviously, from Raze, and then to be able to take that and multiply it even further towards a complete Hanaoka 3-0 victory, recovering what we saw from Lijiang Tower, or stomping down and planting your feet in the ground on Blizzard World.
Yeah, they played great on the Diva. I mean, they were basically a hawk on the supports all night. Like, even on Lijiang Tower, when they were doing the Doomfist versus the Diva, it felt like a fight would break out and things would kind of be going back and forth, but Raze went in the back and got both the supports. So DPS tanks, you got no healers, you're going down after that. So it didn't matter who they traded out because Raze was smartly going after supports. Blizzard World constantly kept going after the Zenyatta on the high ground, not allowing them to be able to just freely volley and hit big shots and stuff. So they knew what their job was on the Diva, and they played it to a T.
That they did. They played it phenomenally well, and that is why they get our match MVP for tonight's Saturday Night Overwatch. So congratulations to Raze, and yet again, congratulations to Mythos Phoenix for what they accomplished and for being able to step into the playoffs. Now,
before we get off of the player of the match, I got to highlight Tragic real quick. Before we move any further, we have got to highlight Tragic just a little bit. I mean, went 42-2 on that opening map, had 5 deaths in the entirety of the series on Tracer. So I just wanted to throw out that little asterisk there, like, highly considered for player of the match.
Yes.
I mean, it was an absolutely, what, Joker, you call it a generational performance on one of those maps? I mean, 5 deaths in 3 maps, are you kidding me? Okay, anyway, so there you go. Sorry. I had to get that out of my system, Sam. I had to get that out of my system.
Thank you, because I completely forgot. I wanted to bring them up. I wanted to talk about them real quick, but I got caught up in the Raze hype that I set Tragic over the wayside.
Understandable.
But again, this is what we're talking about, right? It's when we look at how Mythos Phoenix is performing and what they brought to the table, right? It's being able to shine all together and blast away the competition. And so, I mean, there's no better proof in the pudding than a 3-0 against Guardians HC. But hey, we got a lot of great Overwatch tonight. We got all of it out of our system, at the very least, for this Saturday Night Overwatch. But hey, you know what? Make sure you hit that follow button, because there's always more regular season broadcasts happening again tomorrow. Now, fortunately, there is no Saturday Night Overwatch next week. Ray, well, what's going on? Why don't I have a job next week?
Because we're doing staff games. You do have a job. You have to be there. You have to be on lowlights. Like, it's going to happen. Like, we're all going to get flamed. We're all going to have a great time. And it will be, it's going to be produced and had some casting on it. We did this last season too, and it was a great time. Had some actually crazy matches. We actually, had it set up to where we were able to listen to comms inside of certain VCs that we were playing in. It was a very fun time.
Ooh, I'm scared about that one.
We had a Shambali map that went like 8-7 or something like that. Like it went crazy.
Oh my gosh. Is anyone else on the desk gonna be there? Joker, Jeff?
I'll be there.
Sure, why not? I don't know. We'll see what I got going on next weekend. I'm not sure, honestly.
Okay. All right.
I'm always busy. I'm a busy man. I don't know what to say. I'm a busy man.
I know. It's okay. I gotta try my best to get you on there.
I appreciate it.
I can't be left in these lowlights with Ray and Joker. But I do want to get some final thoughts before we close things out here, and we'll start with you, Joker.
Yeah. I mean, that was just a great overall series from Mythos. Shout outs Dave, shout out Cat Pack. But yeah, that was just a great game overall from Mythos.
It really was. Jeff, final thoughts from you, my friend?
It's playoff time. Like, let's go. That's all I got for you. I'm keeping it short and sweet. It's playoff time.
I love that. It's playoff time. Oh, Ray, you got to follow up that energy. Come on, man.
Staff games next week, and now for Joker. Woo! And now for Joker, he's got to cast Mythos' game coming into playoffs. He told Mythos, if y'all win, I will cast one of your playoff games. So Joker's got a promise to keep now.
Yeah.
Good. Good job, Ray. Way to hold him to it. I like.
I told Dave I'd cast a game if they won, and they won, and I'll have to. Hopefully they either schedule it before I go to Sweden or after I go to Sweden. They're still in.
Video proof now, though. Video proof. So you can't go back on your word, Joker. Even if you're in Sweden, right, dude? Whip out. They got places there. I'm sure you can go and cast.
I will give it to our social media manager, clip it, and we're posting it if you don't cast them.
Yep. And then you had to pay the fine of 5,000 CGL tokens. So.
Oh no, we have 196.
That's a steep fine. That's a steep fine.
Better start. Hey, Jeff. Here at CGL, our word is golden. Okay, and so we need to make sure to back that up.
I respect it.
with hefty fines. So thank you all so much for watching yet again another week of Saturday Night Overwatch. Though if you have not hit that follow button, please make sure to do that so you get notifications when the channel goes live. And also go and check out the YouTube channel as well. We have the VODs posted there in case you missed out on any of the exciting action, as well as the lowlights hosted by none other than the phenomenal Leg Day. So if you want to watch some of that, definitely make sure to go and check out the YouTube channel. I do want to give a big shout out to our casters, Hunter Tane and Megalas, who did a phenomenal job throughout that series, guiding us through it all. And of course, our amazing behind the scenes production staff, Hippie, Rhino, Cry, and Orange. They did phenomenal work as always. And of course, to our amazing desk Joker, Jeff, and to Tryhard Ray, whom without, I'd just be sitting here by myself. And of course, a big thank you to all of you for watching. We'll see all of you on the next Saturday Night Overwatch.